About 2,000 years ago or so, Jesus Christ stood in front of a group of his disciples who were kind of like a motley crew, kind of ordinary and sometimes like less than ordinary. He looked at them and he said, "You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world." Motley crew that they were, I can imagine them going, "Who's he talking to?" But he didn't hesitate, as he doesn't hesitate today, to look at you and me and say, "You are the salt of the earth. You are the light of the world. It is within you." That's what you are, meant to be, made to be. So let's take a look at that. Salt, what does it do? Well, one thing it does is it brings out flavor. A little bit of salt brings out the flavor of the food. And that's what we are. People who can bring out the goodness of others. I'd like you to think just for a minute. Can you think of someone or a few people who bring out the best in you? How do they do it? How do you feel? They call for the best. That's what we are. It is within every one of us to do that for others, to bring out the best in them in simple little ways. Turning off the TV, shutting off the computer, putting down the iPhone or whatever, and paying attention to somebody, smiling. "Oh, I'm so glad to see you," and mean it. Or somebody who believes in us and can just call, "I believe in you." You can do it. You can do it. It brings out the best in us. Another thing a salt does, it is a preservative. It keeps things from decaying, falling apart, rotting. Salt keeps things together. So, it does things like, here's one way to do it. We'll take something from the first reading where it says that you shall remove all false accusations. False accusations destroy, decay a society, a people, a family, friends, lies. Integrity is needed to live life. And when we lie, there's decay. Things fall apart. We can just look at the situation that the world is in today. Who do you trust? Who's telling us the truth? So then we end up fighting against each other. So, to be salt, to preserve, take away, remove all false accusations, all gossip, all accusing people of stuff about what we really don't know. Take that away. That's salt. We are to be that salt. To get rid of that in our lives. And also to take away not only false accusations, but also malicious speech. Everybody knows what that means. Everybody's been involved in it. Remove it. I am sure that there's nobody in here who can say, "I never thought about saying something mean or kind of malicious or nasty to somebody." I want to ask you to raise your hand if you could, but I'm sure nobody can. In fact, I'm pretty sure that everybody in here has thought of things to say to specifically for somebody. It's like the next time she or he says this, I got him. I got a good zinger and I'm going to get it in there. We're salt. Remove malicious speech by saying positive things, encouraging things, things that will really help people, as Scripture says. That's within every one of us to do. It also says that you are the light of the world. Applies to me too, I know. You are the light of the world. Well, what does light do? It dispels the darkness, because in the darkness we cannot see. And when we walk into a dark room, especially one that we don't know, we're going to bump into things, hurt ourselves, and break stuff. Turn on a little bit of light, even a little bit of light. It helps us get around. But much better is more light so that we can see. We are the light of the world. We are. There's nobody in here who cannot be light. And the first reading also tells us what that light means. It says things like, share your bread with the hungry. It can mean that literally, and we take it literally. We have our St. Vincent de Paul food shelf. We feed people. Loaves and fishes and all. We feed people. But people are also hungering for more than that. People are also hungering for God. So how can we share a little bit of our faith with somebody else? How can we, when people hunger for connection and for meaning in life, how can we be there and help them kind of figure out where it is they are going? What is it that's going to help them to live life a little bit better, to find some meaning? People are hungering. Share your bread with the hungry. Shelter the homeless. We take that literally. People need to find homes. We contribute to that. Veep, for example, does some stuff like that too, and Mary Jo Copeland's thing, Helping Hands and all that. We do that. But it means more than just that literally. Shelter the homeless. Shelter people who don't feel at home. Make in ourselves a home for other people so that when they are with us in our presence, they can feel safe and like they are at home, because they are. We have made a space inside for them. Shelter the homeless. Be hospitable. It's why we do what we do at the beginning of Mass. Introduce yourself to somebody else. Welcome them. Hi, we're glad you're here. What's your name? Make a home. Shelter the homeless. Clothe the naked. I'm not going to beat this up, but everybody knows they got clothes in their closets they don't use. They belong to somebody else. Give them away. But not only just literally the clothes, there are people who feel exposed in life and need some protection. Clothe the naked. Protect, help people. Bring it in. Do not turn your back on your own. Do not turn your back on your own. How could you? Well, I'm not sure, but we can and we do. Unless they apologize to me, I'm not speaking to them the rest of my life. Well, do not turn your back on your own. To reach out to somebody else and say that you still belong. We got to work some things out here. We got to talk. I'm ready to forgive, or I'm ready to ask for forgiveness. But I'm not turning my back on you. I'm going to be there. We could talk about this longer, but the reading goes on to say, then your light shall shine, and your wound shall be healed. That in the living out of this being salt and being light, that we are healed inside. We find who we are and what life is about, and we shine forth. But the healing goes on inside of us as well. And I found a story that I think speaks to this a bit. It's a story about a widow whose only child, a son, died in a tragic accident. The woman was crazy with grief, and she mourned her loss so deeply that no one could provide comfort for her. At last, a friend took her to the house of a holy man where she made a sobbing plea. Use your powers to bring my son back to life. Surely you are able, by prayer or some magic, to induce the Almighty to lighten my grief. The old man spoke kindly to the woman. Bring me a mustard seed from a home that has never known sorrow, and I will use that seed to remove the pain from your life. So immediately she set out in search of the magic mustard seed. She thought, first I will visit the home of a wealthy family. Tragedy is less likely to strike them. So soon she approached a beautiful mansion, knocked on the door, and spoke to the woman who greeted her. She said, I am in search of a home that has never known sorrow. Is this such a place? Please, it is vital that I know. Never known sorrow, cried the woman who answered the door. You have come to the wrong house. And she sobbed, began to describe all of the tragedies that had touched her family. She invited the widow into her home to explain in greater detail what had taken place. The widow remained in that home for many days, listening and caring. When she left to resume her search, the widow visited a modest home about a mile away, and the experience was the same. Wherever she traveled, from mansion to hut, she was greeted with tales of sadness and sorrow. Everyone found her a willing and careful listener. After months of travel, she became so involved with the grief of others that she forgot about her search for the magic mustard seed, never realizing that it had indeed driven sorrow from her life. Jesus is the light of the world. We have that light within us. We need to let that light shine for the sake of the world and for our own sakes.